This is the PL-89 Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar for Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, which is the 9th day of Tishrei of 5786. The Parsha is Hazinu, and the Daf Yomi of today is Attractive Zvachim, page 17. And this is the Gematriatic Quantum Thought Calendar. I generally present it as a theory of everything presented in calendar form. It's a combination of several calendars, primarily the lunar calendar, the Jewish calendar, which is a lunar calendar, and a solar calendar, the Gregorian calendar, together in one calendar. And the amount of boxes, both the visible and invisible, I'll explain that in a moment, represent a 3-month period of time, which correlates to a few different things. When I said invisible, what I meant is that visible are 80 boxes, 8 columns, 10 rows, 80 boxes. And there's an invisible line that represents 10 or 11 days or 9 days. 9, 10, or 11 days, depending on the type of month, because in lunar months, like in Jewish months, it could be 29 days a month, or in a Gregorian month, it could be 31 days, sometimes 30 days in either. And once in a while, it's 28 days. Actually, really once in a while. And once in a while, in the Gregorian, it's 29, like in February, a leap year. So very rarely is it 8 days, only in the case of February 28th. But basically it's either 9, 10, or 11 days. But the basic time span is 90 or 91 days, and it's connected with the planet called Mercury, and in Hebrew it's called Kochav Chama, which is said to have an orbit around the sun of 88 of our Earth days. And it's based on a verse in the book of Exodus, chapter 2, which talks about the Redeemer, Moses, who, when Pharaoh issued the edict to kill the baby boys, it's written in Exodus chapter 2 that his mother hid him. The words of the verse in Hebrew are Vatitz Penehu Shlosha Yerachim. She hid him for 3 months. And that's the basis of this, because 80 boxes represent the age of Moses when the Exodus story happened. It's written that he was 80 and Aaron was 83 when they stood before Pharaoh. And so this is about the Exodus of Egypt, but it's also about the final redemption. It draws parallels between the two. So part of that has to do with the sun and the moon. They need to be in balance. There's a lot said about that. In the beginning of creation, the two lights that were created, the greater light and the lesser light, and it has another connection when it comes to Jacob and Esau, and in further ramification and further connection to Jews and Jewish people and Gentile people, Jewish people and the nations, and the Geula, which is referred to in Parshas Vayishlach by the first Chabad Rebbe as the meeting of Yaakov and Esav is the Geula, and so that's what this calendar is about. And so it has elements of the sun and the moon. It combines both calendars, both philosophies, both ideas. And I've included the Islamic calendar because it's peace between all of them. So reconciliation, which is to say. And the Islamic calendar is very close to the Hebrew calendar. In fact, this month in the Islamic calendar is Rabi al-Thani, which is the 4th month. And it can show up at different points during the year. At this point, it happens to be at the first month, the Muharram, I think, was I think it's that. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but the first corresponded to our July. The second month, which corresponded to the Hebrew Safar, was the second month, which is like Av, our Av. And then Rabi Elul was our Elul. Interesting. Elul and Elul sounds very similar. And that was the third month, which corresponded to our September, or Elul, this year. And now that we're in Tishrei, and now that we're in October, it's aligning today. October aligns with Tishrei, aligns with Rabi al-Thani. Now in Rabi al-Thani, the day is 9. Same number as the Hebrew calendar. So, but in Safar, it was one day ahead. In Rabi al-Awwal, it was one day ahead because our Rosh Chodesh Av was on 30. They didn't have that. That our 30 of Av was their first day of Rabi al-Awwal. But anyway, today it might be a good time to explain about the plus and minus realities. It's a rule in this calendar. There's many rules, and I explain them repeatedly. It's part of my meditation. I just explain it over and over again, and it inculcates it in my own mind, and it also gets it out there. This right here today on the Hebrew calendar, we're on the 9th day of Tishrei. 9th day of Tishrei in any month that's in this dispensation. There's another rule. I'll explain that later. 9th is going to be here, which means when we get to October 9th, God willing, it's going to be here on box 26. When we get to, today is Rabi Elul 9, it's here. Today is Tishrei 9, so it's here. And that's how it works. It combines all the calendars, and whatever day it is 9, it's going to be in this box. So it's like a unifier. In fact, in English Gematria, the word unity, if you use the English Gematria cipher of A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, D equals 4, if you do that until Z, which equals 26, the word unity, U equals 21, N equals 14, I equals 9, T equals 20, Y equals 25, equals 89. That's one of the reasons why this is the PL-89. Okay? So we're at 26 right here. And what's interesting is that there's different ways of calculating this box about the day. The concept of the Gematriatic thought calendar is that ideally what you're supposed to do is look on the calendar, see the number of the day, and as much Gematria as you know, it will, so to speak, magnetize. All those Gematrias will come in that day, and you'll get a picture, you get a read for what this day is telling you, so to speak. And the idea is to know more and more Gematria so you can know more and more about that day. Now, some people might think that it's a method or technique for prediction. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way because I don't think it's possible to gather the amount of data necessary to have all the variables, because there's always a new variable that comes in, and the moment you think you've got the whole thing figured out, and you're about to predict a thing, then a new thing comes in that says you missed that point, and it's endless. As human beings, I don't think that we can. It's possible to gather the data, but what it is effective for, very effective for, is for just gathering more data. It's just as a learning tool. So you may not be. And am I saying that in some cases you cannot predict? I'm not saying that. Maybe if there is some technique that's revealed that in some way can in some way predict the future on some partial level, then like they say in Hebrew, kol hakavod, great, wonderful. But that's not what it's for. It's not what it's for. It's to learn more and more Gematria and to make more sense of things, past, present, and future, but primarily the past. It's really a big tool for studying history, to compare and contrast things in history with the present time, and by extension, perhaps, maybe, efshar, we can look at the future. That's the premise of the Gematriatic quantum thought calendar. The planet plus and minus reality system is simple. It's what I explained earlier about the sun and the moon. The sun is represented in the Gregorian calendar, and there's more philosophy behind it. It's like the sun is Esav. The sun is the non-Jewish world. You could say the Christian world. It's Esav. The Jewish world is Yaakov. Okay, and that's the sun, because they go by the solar calendar. The Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar, but it also uses the sun as well. See, they're incumbent upon each other. They need each other, and the commentators say that really Esav and Yaakov were supposed to work as a team. Unfortunately, at that time that they lived, there was some kind of what they refer to as a I'm using this very broadly, but Shvir Sakalim, a breaking of the vessel. There was some kind of corruption or something that happened that made history happen the way it did, but all for a purpose. But at any rate, sun and the moon. Yeah, so the moon is the lunar, is the Jewish world, philosophy, ideology, way of seeing things. And the two come together in this calendar, numerically speaking. Okay, so if we are on over here 9th of Tishrei, but today is also October 1st. So you have two numbers here, right? You have 9 and you have 1. The plus and minus reality system is just making a note of the difference between those dates. The distance between 1 and 9 obviously is 8. So that means that from the perspective of October 1st, we are in what's called a plus 8 reality. It means the reality of this balance, this phenomenon of the way it's situated this month is a plus 8. Vice versa is true. From the perspective of Tishrei, if I'm focused on the Hebrew perspective, and I'm on 9, so it's a minus 8 reality. You have to see it both sides. I mean, anyway, if you want to see it that way, I'm saying it's seen on both ways. From the Gregorian perspective, it's called Greg. From the Hebrew perspective, it's called Heb. Seeing it plus 8 or minus 8. Okay. What's very interesting is that we entered a plus and minus 8 reality. One of the ways of calculating the boxes is that it's called digital root. It's used in numerology very, very commonly. Is where you have any number, doesn't matter how big, and you add all the digits together, and you make it just one digit. It simplifies it into one category. So today, if today is Tishrei 9, and we're in box 26, then what's 2 and 6? It's 8. We just entered today a plus 8 reality, because October 1st is Tishrei 9. So box 26 is 8. 2 plus 6 is 8. We entered a plus 8 reality. That's how that's the ideal way the gematriatic quantum thought calculation should happen. That the thing that happens on that day points exactly, not one off, not one less, not one more, to that box. I know that in gematria they use kolalim, and I have recently found a new appreciation for being one off. It's like you're one off. It's just about there, but it's not quite. But you can add the word itself as its own thing. But in this calendar, it has to be exact. So 2 plus 8 is 6. Today, on October 1st, we entered a plus 8 reality. Or on Tishrei 9, we entered a minus 8 reality. That's for the lunar side. But on the solar side, the box number is 38. In this dispensation, I'll explain this at a different time, dispensation, box 38 always has to be on the first day of the month. So October 1st, Rosh Hashanah, Tishrei 1 was here 8 days ago. And Rabbi Al-Tani was here first, has to be in this dispensation. Now there's other dispensations where all it gets shifted around, but that's for a different time. But in this dispensation, it's like a format, it's like a setting. You press this setting and everything is there. But then you press a different setting, and then it puts the months in different places here, all for reasons, all for logical reasons. It's like a puzzle, and a logical puzzle. Okay, but anyway, so 38, I can just say that one of the laws of Kolalim do apply here, I should say. That these boxes, they can become one box. These two, purple and lavender, can become one thing. And today can also become yesterday. It's just one day. You're only moving off one point. So today on the calendar of the Gregorian, right? It's October 1, so it's box 38. But what's 38 plus 40? That's another rule. I forgot about to tell you about that, but I mention it all the time, so you'll hear it. They're constantly being reviewed. They're constantly being explained. The rule of 40 states that 38 can be 78, can be 118, can be 158, can be 198. Okay, so today is 7/8, but by the rule of the PL-89, today is yesterday. But what was yesterday? 7/8. 7 is Tishrei and 8 of Tishrei. So that means that if today is yesterday, then 38 equals 78. So today's the 9th of Tishrei, and it's also the 8th of Tishrei. That's the basic explanation of the PL-89 for today, 9 Tishrei 5786, and October 1st, 2025.